Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. My name is Daniel Rogers, and I'm a co-minister for the North Broad Street Church of Christ in Albertville, Alabama. Their website is northbroad.church. I also have my own personal website where I post blogs and things like that. It's danielr.net. And hey, if you haven't heard the news, I have a new book coming out. It's called How a 25-Year-Old Learned He Wasn't the Only One Going to Heaven. As soon as I can approve the proof copy, then boom, it's going to be posted. And I'll be updating that for you shortly. The plan is that you can have a book in your hands before Thanksgiving break. So towards the end of November, right? Okay, today we're going to be talking about the book of Revelation. Now, Revelation is probably one of the most overlooked books of the New Testament. Now, of course, when you get into the Old Testament, you have some pretty some pretty overlooked books right there, back there, right? Ezekiel, maybe First and Second Chronicles or Leviticus. I mean, because come on, like when you're reading through the Bible, it's usually Leviticus that knocks out like 75% of people, right? And then when you're reading through even more, like you power through Leviticus, you did a good job. Then you get through First and Second Kings, and then you read First Chronicles, and boom, hit with like 18 gajillion chapters of genealogies, and then you're like reading the same thing, and so you're going, oh, why did I even do this? And you drop out, right? But the book of Revelation for the New Testament is probably one of the most overlooked and misunderstood and probably misapplied books that we have. Hundreds and hundreds of books on bookshelves at the old bookstores are dedicated to Revelation prophecy, like it's just around the corner, so and so's the beast, right? The mark of the beast is Apple Pay or something, right? It's crazy the stuff that you get into, and so we're kind of like, Revelation's good, but not now, not for us. We're not going to worry about studying that book. Anyways, it's too difficult or whatever. And there might be some reasons for that. Like I just mentioned, maybe you thought that the book of Revelation was just too difficult. And you may have even heard this explicitly or maybe implicitly. For example, you might have had a Bible class teacher say, okay, we're going to do a mini series on the book of Revelation, but we're just going to look at the first three chapters, maybe the throne room scene of, chapters 4 and 5, and we might look at a few of the passages in chapters 20 through 22. Got a really nice judgment scene there in chapter 20 to get you to get baptized or whatever. And then 21 and 22 got some great passages where a lot of our hymns come from about heaven. So let's just look at those and feel good about ourselves, and we'll go about our day. But all the stuff in the middle, from like chapter 6 or so to chapter 19, all that's too difficult to understand. It's signs, it's symbols, and some kind of freaky, weird stuff. So we're not really going to worry about that, right? Or maybe you picked up on that message implicitly. Maybe you just never had a class on Revelation. Yeah, okay, we've done James, 24 times, but we still haven't done Revelation. That's kind of weird. Every other book of the Bible, we hear sermons about, or, people do messages on, a devotional from, but Revelation, it's like, okay, there's a few passages we're familiar with. We hear Revelation 2:10 in every single invitation, be thou faithful unto death, and I'll give thee a crown of life. But besides that, it's like, who needs it anyways, right? Let's just have 26 books in the New Testament. It's less to read anyways, whatever. There might be other reasons, though, that you might be a little timid about the book of Revelation. Perhaps you remembered what Jesus said to John whenever they're going through some of the cities of Samaria, and one of the cities didn't accept him, one of the villages didn't accept him, and John was like, hey, can we call down fire from heaven and burn these guys up? And Jesus said, you do not know of what spirit you are. And so you've read that, you've internalized that. And then you look at Revelation, and it's pretty much like everything that Jesus got on the John about. Talking about burning people up, right? We've just read Revelation 21:8. So maybe this is a little bit odd. There's a lot of violence. There's these like big beasts, people are getting beheaded. There's blood flowing through the streets, pits of fire. Like, I don't know. I've read the Old Testament enough. I don't know if I want to get into all that, right? So maybe you haven't read Revelation because it's kind of scary. I mean, kind of odd. Kind of maybe it seems sort of outdated or something like that. Like, do we really need all that bloodshed kind of language, right? So maybe you haven't read Revelation because of that, or maybe you haven't looked into Revelation because of that. Could also be you just see it as irrelevant. Hey, all this stuff's future stuff anyways. I'll probably be dead. I mean, after all, every Christian that's lived since the first century has died without these things happening, right? The earth hasn't caught on fire. So in all likelihood, I'm going to die too. So, what's the point of studying it? Or maybe another perspective. well, this stuff is really about Rome, or it's about conflicts with the Catholic Church, or maybe all this stuff is about the war of the war surrounding the fall of Jerusalem between the Jews and the Romans. So, what do I even really need to study this for? Is it cool to like know that prophecy was fulfilled? Is it cool to know, that God can accomplish anything? Yeah, but this stuff is either all in the past, this stuff is either all in the future. So, what's the point of studying it anyways? Let me go study First John and talk about love. That's beautiful. Let's go talk about love. It's awesome. But I think the book of Revelation has more in it than you might think. It's not just about prophecies fulfilled back there or prophecies that will be fulfilled sometime in the future. It contains messages that are relevant for us today. And not just the first 3 chapters and the last couple of chapters, right? There's much more in there that's beneficial to you. Like, for example, is God the kind of God that listens to the cry of the oppressed? Is God the kind of God that sees his people suffering and wants them to feel peace, wants them to feel vindication? That's an important message Revelation talks about. Is God a God that keeps his promises? Is God faithful to the things that he says? That message is prevalent throughout Revelation. Well, how does God react to power struggles between nations? How does he react to excessive violence and things like that? That's even talked about in Revelation chapter 13. What about people that take advantage of others, that cause prices to skyrocket? What about people that, excuse me, that mistreat each other and persecute each other and disfellowship and kick each other out, synagogues and things like that? What about those kinds of situations? How does God look at that? And what's God's opinion on people of different nations and customs and things like that coming together to worship him? Revelation has those kind of themes as well. And so Revelation just isn't this book about a cosmic battle between God and Satan that's either back there in our future and not really relevant to us today. There's a lot of lessons throughout the book that are important for us to pick up on, which is one of the reasons why I believe that it's included there at the end of the New Testament. And if you're interested in more on Revelation, comment below. I'd love to bring out some of those nuggets for you. Maybe a few more videos like this, maybe a more lengthy podcast or sermon series or something. Let me know what you want, and I can take us on a journey through Revelation. Not verse by verse, but maybe just some highlights, some overviews, just enough to get you interested in this wonderful book in Scripture. Hope you all have a great day, and God bless.